Hey everyone, it's Dinah, and we are back with some more Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., this time on to episode number 9 in season 5. Last time, it feels really weird to say this, we had flashbacks to 2022. We had flashbacks in the episode to 2022, of course, because this current season is currently set in 2091, with the team having been sent there and all, obviously. But yeah, so we had flashbacks to 2022, and those flashbacks showed us some some concerning stuff, some pretty kind of concerning and worrying and very, very kind of foreshadowy kind of stuff. Or what I think we can presume is foreshadowing for what's about to come, if the team really does make it back home safe and sound, and then they have to do whatever to create a new timeline and everything. So we had that. We had Robin. Robin was back with S.H.I.E.L.D., but then her mother didn't make it. Polly did not make whatever kind of catastrophe awaited them at the very beginning of the flashback. So then, because of that, she was taken into S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, and then she was under the kind of guardianship of pretty much of May the entire time. And we got to see a lovely kind of mother-daughter kind of relationship blossom from that too. May kind of being somewhat of like a surrogate mother to Robin. And even to the actual very end of her the very final flashback actually showing us Robin addressing her as mom, and then even in the present day, or in the kind of present day, with even older Robin actually remembering May and actually acknowledging her as mom as well. So that was really sweet. But then Robin died. So yes, I mean, she lived age wise, she lived a pretty full life. Age wise, she actually grew to be an old woman, and she actually lived a life in that sense. But pretty much in every other possible sense of the word, she kind of didn't, because she had her whole life taken away from her due to her powers, and she was just stuck doing the same thing over and over again. So it was a very, very sad life in that sense. But in the end, she still managed to finally get the final message out to May and to give her the key and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, R.I.P. to Polly. R.I.P. to Polly, because we know that she then doesn't really make it due to whatever happens. But then also R.I.P. to Robin. So literally the entire family ends up dying. Because of powers, because of the extraordinary events and powers and all that kind of crap. So the Hintons, R.I.P. to the Hintons, R.I.P. to the Hintons. So yeah, so we had that. We had for a while we had Simmons and May, and Simmons kind of Fitzsimmons were kind of there, kind of really kind of struggling to contemplate the idea of actually building a time machine and actually going forward with all of Robin's visions. And then Fitz kind of had a breakdown after Robin kept imagining Gemma's death and everything, and she kept on imagining everything. I think most, if not everyone's death, but then Gemma's one was the one that she actually got stuck on a loop on, and then that got to Fitz. So then that kind of broke him down, and then even Elena as well. I think something happened to Mac, and he was gone. I mean, she said gone. I think that could either mean that he up and disappeared and never came back, or he actually died, but then whatever happened to the point where Elena herself lost faith, and she wasn't really the same Elena that we knew anymore. And then at that point they were down in the lighthouse, and then I think they mentioned that the Kree were there to actually kind of help them with resources and everything, but then Elena knew deep down, they're just going to enslave us and everything. So I think if they really did go back in time to, create the new timeline that was meant to happen, I feel like that would then mean that this time they were around to actually see the Kree coming to Earth and doing whatever they did that eventually led to them enslaving the Earth and enslaving the rest of the population and doing all the stuff that they did in the future as well. So they knew what was coming, or at least Elena remembered what was coming, and then didn't really feel too good about it. So we had all of that. But yeah, I think the whole kind of point of those flashbacks kind of showed that her mind and her perception of time and her perception of reality was all jumbled up, because she was constantly viewing stuff from the past, present, and the future. So she didn't really know what order anything was in. So she'd constantly be saying the most random stuff, but here and there she'd actually say some stuff that would make sense and actually give off some riddles and give off some little pointers and eventually make some kind of sense. But in the end, I think we also met, what was his name? We met, I think, of course, like the classic me that I am, I did not write down his name. I genuinely can't remember who he was in the last episode. That guy, he killed Owen, he killed Deke's dad. Because of the whole rock thing, he had a piece of the monolith that actually connected to the time machine. That they actually managed to build the time machine that connected the present and the future and everything. So he killed Owen, he killed Deke's dad. And then, of course, him and the remaining humans on the Zephyr actually managed to kind of deduce that, like, because they had access to the actual last ever seen footage of Daisy that showed her leaving the Quinjet and then actually, like, leaving the scene, but then witnesses said that Quake went back in and actually, blew the whole world apart with, like, a 12.5 on the Richter and everything, so... They had that whole thing. So then, and because they knew that that exact Shield team would also be coming into the coming into the future from the past before all this happened, then maybe by taking her out and then eliminating the team, maybe they could actually prevent what goes down. But so then they tried to kill Daisy. That didn't work. So then eventually they said, okay, well, if we can't kill you, then we can at least kill the person who might end up trying to help you get home, so that way you never get home. So then he killed Robin instead, so then Robin bled out in May's arms and everything. So yeah, he presumably has been locked up, but then we did have like that kind of mini kind of, I mean, I wouldn't even call them like a resistance force. I think they were really just kind of angry and worried and nervous kind of humans who didn't really know what to think, but then knew that. I mean, I feel like in I think Voss was the name. Voss. I think his name was Voss. I just remembered like from the flashback when Fitz mentioned the name. His name was Voss. So yeah, Voss. Voss. Kind of, I think he pretty much was like the leader of that whole kind of initiative. Like I think without a doubt he was like the ringleader. He was the one who gave them that idea. Like, oh, Daisy's the one that does this. Quake is the one that does this. If we kill Quake, then the world never gets blown apart and everything. So then we have to take her out. And he was the one with the whole kind of ringleader and mob leader kind of mentality. He was the one who drew them together and actually gave them this kind of incentive. So yeah, so he's not dead. I think they didn't actually kill any of the other humans. I think they really did just kind of subdue them. But then Robin was the one that was the only casualty in that particular instance. So there was that. So that happened, and then Robin gave May the hint about Flint, about how he's the key and everything. And yeah, I think now that it's pretty much been established that he does move rocks and he moves earth rubble with his mind. My theory, at least my theory, he might just be the key to piecing the Earth back together, like with enough power, with enough time, with enough amplification, with other kind of methods and techniques in place. He might just be the key to piecing the Earth back together, to actually rebuilding the Earth and rebuilding their home and everything. So, yeah, I mean, also begs the question of like, does that mean that they might not go back to their time, or does that, or like, would they rebuild it here and now because they can, but then also try and go back home? Because then this still isn't their time. It's not really where they belong. So, kind of begs that question for me. Like, are they going to rebuild it and stay here, or are they going to? Because then all they need to do is find the other piece of monolith, but then that would be like either like a side mission or like would be like another mission. So then I think maybe if they find the piece of monolith and then rebuild the Earth, so maybe actually secure their way home first, and then help rebuild the Earth for everyone left behind. So then maybe that can actually help. That can actually help them kind of with some sense of security, some sense of actual security and everything. So I don't know. Either way, I think this season so far, either way, has been a massive step outside of like the boundaries of what Shield has kind of been going for with this series so far. So I think if they do decide to stay behind, actually stay in this kind of future time, then I'm really interested to see what else they could pull off. I think it started off really strong, so I'm really curious to see what else they could pull off besides from a broken Earth and Kree and all these prophecies and everything else and everything. So I'm curious. So yeah, there's that. So we had that. So we had Voss, the footage, Robin, Shield, the monolith, and I think that's pretty much it. I think that's pretty much. Oh well, we had the stuff at the very end too. What's his name? Bobbly Bibbly. The Kree guy. The Kree dude, the main Kree dude, Kasius. Yeah. We know that that him and Sinara killed Mastandar and also Fornak as well. They actually killed them both, and then kind of made their personal mission to actually kind of avenge their deaths and bring the Destroyer of Home, the Destroyer of Home, or technically the Destroyer of Home, the Destroyer of Worlds home to his father, to actually try and then prove his worthiness and prove his validity to the Kree and to the family and everything. So that's their plan. So then he sent Sinara up to the surface of the Earth, and she landed, and he gave her the mission of actually taking out anyone who stands in the way, and then actually capturing the Destroyer of Worlds. So Sinara and Kasius still very much a threat, and then of course Mac and Flint and Yo-Yo are still on board the lighthouse and actually getting ready to actually take down any other kind of Kree that stand in their way and actually liberating what's left of humanity. Because I think they sorted out most, if not all, of the Veralnexians kind of easily enough. But I think there's still some on the surface, and there's still some wherever they are, like if they have caves or lairs or whatever. So need to sort them out, but all in all, I think everyone's got something to do, everyone's got something to focus on, so no one's really bored or jobless. So yeah, it's been a fun episode 8 so far, so on to episode number 9 of this season. So yeah, Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., episode number 9, season 5. Let's go. Oh, that was a good transition, I love that. I like that little kind of logo too. Yeah, that was a good transition, that was a good fade, yeah.
Why does a guy named Gunner get stuck throwing rocks?
Damn good at it.
Yeah. Wait, you got guns to throw the rocks? A plus logic.
If even one item doesn't make it onto my ship whole, then I fear neither will you. Am I clear?
Oh, is this his stuff? Oh, is he packing up his stuff too? Is he packing up his own stuff? He's gonna make a grand escape too. But then his grand escape was to destroy what's left of the Earth in the process, so... Huh.
This inhuman boy, Flint, you say his geokinesis is the key to building
Geokinesis,
your
yeah.
to your returning home.
Whatever you're doing, do it faster. How we looking?
Terrible. Zephyr one's
Oh, jacketless fits. Oh, with the sleeves rolled up. Oh.
It's gonna be a while till cars are up and running.
Again, bus kids are hot. Bus kids are
Not
hot.
to ruin the mood, but avionics are online.
Agent Coulson,
Jacket Gemma and
we are
jacketless fits.
evacuating to the caves for shelter, are we not? I am mostly plastic alloy, and
Plastic?
Carcoms do not have gender.
Oh,
We don't have weeks.
agender plastic.
Ground anchor.
That's neat.
Fly past as many roaches.
Oh. I mean, it's a Zephyr that stood the test of time, but it's still a very, very old Zephyr,
plastic.
so very sensitive.
Make yourself useful.
Plastic.
Secure this in the back.
Is May picking up on Mac's trend of giving out nicknames? Because that is exactly what Mac would call him. That is exactly what Mac would call him. Is plastic or something else, or Robot Man. Yeah, he'd call him Robot Man.
You'd be that no phone, no TV, 7:30 curfew kind of mom.
See, Daisy speaks from experience. That's her speaking from experience.
Proving my point.
The death.
For Robin's sake.
Oh gosh. Yeah, she has the death stare nailed down, just as Melinda May. Just.
Always agreed to pull these people out of the past, but once they got here, we never saw eye to eye on that. He thought they'd come with some grand solution. I thought killing them was the solution.
Oh, so he always felt this way.
Came at me with a knife, and the knife ended up in his throat. You know he was capable of it.
I don't think Deke, you're not a killer. No, it's about bad as you want to get revenge, you're not a killer. You don't get to say that.
It's fine.
You've killed. And you killed Robin very intentionally.
All right, I can help.
We'll deal with it. End of discussion.
You won't even let him have a go with the rocks, at least. Actually send a few of them hurtling down the hallway. That would be really cool. Tess? What kind of messenger is this? Is she a walker now?
Tess?
No, no way, no.
Knives are cold.
It's okay, Tess.
S.H.I.E.L.D. dealt with something like this before.
In our time, we've seen Kree biology.
Yeah, oh yeah, Kree, I forgot about that. Kree blood can resurrect.
We go down there and we kill them all.
Pump the brakes, Pebbles. We've been over this.
I have powers.
You are not a weapon of mass destruction.
You.
No, he doesn't. He wants Quake.
Everything he needs to keep breeding in humans.
Oh, he wants to make more of them.
Every child. And motivation for the destroyer
That's his end game.
The destroyer.
Daisy.
of worlds.
Daisy is his end
My
game.
friend Daisy.
Daisy.
You saw the video. I was there at the end of everything. Can we really take that chance?
I would.
S.H.I.E.L.D. needs Quake.
I'm just tired of these names. If I'm not Quake, I can't be the destroyer of worlds. Maybe I should just be Daisy Johnson, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
God, even the music.
Purely theoretical. It's useless without artificial gravity.
Gravitonium. You need gravitonium in here. Or does it already have it? It already has gravitonium!
It's on the base, it's here on the plane, it's everywhere.
How is it making this big of a comeback?
Figure out how it was all possible. A planet this shape, with atmosphere.
That's why it works, artificial
Gravitonium would
gravity.
explain why it's held together.
Oh, I knew that's why like an atmosphere wouldn't work otherwise.
We did this.
So Fitz prepared this.
In the past.
They prepared for the end of the world.
After we've lived this moment.
Oh, so then they have to go back in time and create all of this.
Called the loop paradox. We'd only
Wibbly
know how to
wobbly,
design
timey
it because
fucking
we'd
wimey.
already seen it. Do you know what I see? Proof we make it back.
That's a fair point. Proof you can go back and, change things.
Well, no.
Because it's time to fly. May!
Okay, once we have ignition.
Can this thing still fly? Really? Does it still have fuel? It hasn't flown in literal years, so does it still have fuel?
Well, the engines just blew out, so we can't take off.
There we go.
His exact words were, they'll all burn.
Burn them all, just turning into the freaking Mad King.
Is that a bomb?
The
Directly to the O2 lines for this flight. That's pure oxygen.
My dad could be very violent, but only when he needed to be.
Dad could be
I
violent?
learned that in the lighthouse. Shouldn't I be able to pull the trigger if I think that person could do more harm?
Oh, that age-old philosophy and discussion.
There was a light from the sky. Aliens is what I heard. S.H.I.E.L.D. tried to stop it.
Kree.
Brought hell to Earth.
The Kree.
Cryptic prophecies go.
She said that was the start, and then your girl finished it.
It had to be the Kree, right?
Sadly,
Or
you'll see for yourself.
they're the only other aliens we've dealt with.
Yo-Yo and I are turning ourselves over to him.
Kasius will kill you.
Maybe. Or maybe we get close enough to take him out of the picture.
There's no other way.
Hunter v. Ward style.
Won't see us again.
But actually succeed the first time round, please. Thank you.
Your children will be safe.
The most important thing is that you keep your head straight
Growth.
and keep working.
Whoa.
That's how we get in the air. We
Oh,
can't
just-
fly without engines. Maybe we don't have
No,
to.
just float
Simmons!
with
The
the
upgrades.
gravity.
Everyone has reaction control system thrusters.
We can get high enough, we can break through Earth's diminished gravity. We
Hmm.
can fly in space straight to the lighthouse.
Can you pilot us through a gravity storm?
Another mom face.
You can do this.
Oh, that's Sinara. That's Sinara. No, that's Sinara. Is she on the Zephyr now? That's Sinara here to kill. Oh, god damn it. Oh, that music too. That awesome music. Oh.
But not empty-handed.
Oh, did she come with the inhuman blood? Flint's inhuman blood.
Burn your ability to breed another inhuman with the push of a button.
Incinerate
That's how they wanted me to say it.
the inhuman evidence. Oh no. Don't kill her again, please don't kill her again. No. Can we keep Tess this time, please? Can we actually keep her around? Watching her die once was bad enough. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh. Taken out by her own ship.
Definitely gonna get infected.
You okay?
Yeah. Yeah, being taken out by your own ship. Not the best feeling.
Our chances of implosion are rapidly increased.
Tell me your primary function again.
To observe and record the evolution of your species.
More observing, less sharing.
Yeah. Yeah. Inside voice, inside voice.
Everybody buckle in.
Buckle up, buttercups. Coming in with a whole entourage. Yeah. This is his first time leaving his domain, isn't it? This is his first time on the upper floors.
That's not what I pictured.
Yeah.
Yo-Yo Rodriguez?
How does he know Yo-Yo?
Explosives upstairs.
Am I missing something?
Days are over.
Oh, joke, yep. Oh god, Deke, now would be a great time to help. Now would be a great time to come in and try and help fight, if you can. Oh, jeez, crushed by luggage. Oh god. Oh, here we go. Ride that gravity. Ride that gravity wave, dude. Totally. Oh. A hover battle. Let's get a hover battle. Let's get a battle of them hovering. Whoa. That's nuts. Tornadoes? We got tornadoes? Yes, hover in the air. Matrix style. Yeah, just. Oh. 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 Come on, Daisy Johnson, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Show her what you're made of. Show what we're made of. Ooh, ooh, there we go. Wires, cables, yes. Ooh. Ooh. Lightning, tornadoes, just an all-round weather storm. An all-round storm.
If I had a stomach, the vomiting would begin now.
Talk to me, Finn!
Any moment now, Sinara will secure the destroyer, and you will have no choice but to surrender.
I wouldn't count on it. She's Daisy freaking Johnson. Oof, oof, oof. Oh, damn, got wheels, yeah. Oh, oh, to the face. Oh. Oh, chains. Oh, he's got those, the grappling hook chains, yeah, that they used outside. He's got those. Okay.
I choose play.
Oh, force field, of course, of course.
You didn't think I'd be ready for that?
He knows who you are, Elaine. Of course he's got a force field ready for your speed. No, no, no.
Hey, okay, that is quite the jaw you got there. Consider me impressed.
She's a Kree, of course she's got the jaws of steel. God, please, are we high enough now, Fitz? Are we high enough now? Okay, we're literally out in the atmosphere now, I believe. Now, hit those thrusters like there's no tomorrow. Let's go. Oh. Oh, impale her. There we go. There we go, right through the heart. And Daisy Johnson. That was Daisy Johnson killing Sinara. That was Daisy Johnson, not Quake. In self-defense, of course. In self-defense, you know, not cold-blooded murder, you know. Yeah. Okay, there we go.
A sound plan, indeed.
Indeed. Indeed. Oh, God. I love the way he talks.
You did this!
What have they done with the bombs? Have they disarmed them? Or they're displacing them? Where are they? They're gonna blow out a whole other floor? Oh. Oh, just like isolating them to another floor. Isolating them to a separate floor. Yeah, okay. The people have survived. The people live on. Oh, and yeah, the kids are okay. Oh, his family's okay. The kids are okay.
For all of you, it's now over!
Over? Oh, no. Ass kicking's just begun.
Oof. Oh, he's the force sphere. Oh, his inhuman stuff is gone. The inhuman stuff is gone. Yeah, the inhuman. No more Inhumans. No more Inhumans for Kasius. No. Oh, God, that's a good ending. That's a good ending.
The destroyer and her friends are heading here in an old SHIELD aircraft.
Yes, but how do you...
They're nearing the landing.
How do you know this?
It appears so.
They have a seer telling them what's to come? Well, I have one of my own.
A seer? Who's Kasius' seer? They had Robin. Who's his seer? There's another seer? And Kasius has them? What? Okay, so many questions about Kasius, first of all. So many questions about Kasius. So then, I mean, I feel like maybe I think maybe with good reason too. I feel like maybe like the first and second, like the first half of it seemed like, for the sake of being set up, I feel like the first half of the episode kind of seemed a bit slower. You know, I think not even in like a bad way, like not in a way that it was actually boring, but I think in a way that it very intentionally felt like kind of set up for the kind of further future kind of things to come, and then to actually finally pull off the execution of the actual last kind of, you know, fit like the kind of third act of the episode, if you will. Because I mean, can you still use acts for TV shows and like for episodes and stuff? Because I feel like I've only ever seen people use it for movies, because I think movies are longer and you actually have the first, second, third act. And I think with TV shows, I think with TV shows, I think they very kind of deliberately have, you know, if you put it all together, then you go on like a movie, but then it's actually split up into different parts. I don't know if you can really use acts for episodes, but either way, for the first and third act, and for first, second, and third act, I feel like the first, second act of the episode was kind of, you know, kind of calmer and kind of like very deliberately kind of acting as setup, and then the actual third act was just kind of fully just explosive, pun intended, and, you know, actually finally pulling things through to actually lead up to the finale with Kasius. So I feel like, I mean, with this one too, I think this season is also like 22 episodes, and I think what Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has done is that they've used the 22 episode arc the way that they're meant to, and the way that they should, and they've actually had it actually split up into two different portions of a season, like, you know, season 1, the Clairvoyant, and then the Hydra stuff, and then season 2, we had more of Hydra and then the Inhuman stuff, and then we had for the 22 episode seasons we've had so far, we've like the writers have actually done like a good enough job of actually splitting them up into different arcs and different pods. Season 4 being the most prime example of how to do that for a show, for this show at least. So I think for this one, I feel like they could very easily be headed in the same direction too. Like the first kind of handful of episodes actually focusing on the Kasius stuff and the actual lighthouse stuff and everything. And then I can definitely see the I think with Sinara dead now too. I think with Sinara now dead, I can definitely see the next episode being the ending for the Kasius stuff, and then finally getting rid of him and actually killing him and actually ending his story off. And then after that, they actually move away from the lighthouse, maybe even for help the humans find like home on Earth again. And then maybe then because I think I haven't really heard anyone actually mention it. I think they very, very kind of briefly acknowledged it in the beginning with Enoch calling Flint's power geokinesis, which is actually him moving, I mean, can we call it elemental? Because I think he can only really control one element, so I don't know if we can call it fully elemental, but, you know, I mean, he's not the Avatar or anything, but he's essentially an earthbender, and stuff, so there's that, but yeah, I mean, geokinesis, I guess, is just moving, you know, geographical, you know, it's like moving bits of like an actual geographical plane of existence, otherwise known as a planet. So, I guess so. But then also, would him being inhuman and him being, you know, Earth, him being like an Earth-based being of origin, I guess, you know, that does mean that maybe I think. Wait, actually, would that mean that though? Would that mean that his powers are exclusive to Earth rubble, to Earth rocks and everything? Like if there was other rubble out in space, like asteroids or meteors, could he potentially stop an asteroid or like a meteor or something crashing into the Earth? Could he actually stop that in midair, like Magneto style, and then actually send it back out into space or something? Could he actually do that? Rocks of any other planet, could he actually stop those, or is like him being human, or at least partially human, does that mean that his own powers are Terran based and Earth based and everything? Really curious to know about that. But I think for now, with the Earth still being in the state it is, and them needing to do what they need to do, I feel like the focus will definitely be on him actually doing what he can to help piece the Earth together. So I think once they actually acknowledge that, I'll feel a bit more at peace knowing that my theory was correct. So we'll leave it to go to that. But I think again, it's dealing with one thing at a time. So they've now officially dealt with Sinara. So then she's out for the count. So now next episode we have to deal with Kasius, and then actually deal with him and the rest of his men too. He has like a whole other entourage behind him, and he has doctors and soldiers and apparently a seer now too. So that's like a new reveal. I'm still yet to happen. Like who his seer actually is. So yeah, so that'll be it. But I'm definitely kind of gearing up for the next at a push for the next for episode next episode is episode 10. I think that would be like a fairly decent, or at least I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. I really don't know if they would go for like a 3 arc season for this one. I feel like with season 4, I feel like they also kind of got not necessarily lucky, but I feel like they definitely knew that they wanted to do that much for season 4, so they actually went ahead and went full blast for season 4. So now, not that they couldn't do that again, but I think it would be kind of hard to pull off. I think it would be hard to actually pull that off twice in a row. I think it would be a lot more difficult to actually try and maintain that kind of like a momentum with that kind of season stuff. So I feel like with this one, it definitely feels a bit like a tiny bit more like they might be going back down to to like an actual 2 pod kind of season. So with this one, yeah, I think in that case, I feel like we might have a. I mean, in that case, in that case, I feel like maybe we have a bit like one, maybe 2 more episodes to go with Kasius, and then the rest of it will be them putting the Earth back together and actually trying to fix that kind of stuff, and then actually deciding, do we go back home, do we stay, do we do whatever. Because even then, their plan originally was to actually face the consequences of their actions at the hands of the authorities together. That was their plan originally. But then, because of Robin's prophecy, then Enoch had to come and collect the team minus Fitz, and then all this stuff had to happen. So this was all pretty much prophesized too. So it depends on if there is any prophecy that dictates what happens after Kasius and everything, and also what that prophecy is. If the prophecy says that Flint is the key, but then it never says how Flint is the key. So then again, rebuilding the Earth is just the theory that I've got going on for now. But then, I think it kind of depends on if the prophecies, maybe if the prophecies end there too, maybe if the prophecy actually ends there, or if maybe there's one final prophecy that says, oh, they have to actually go back and actually make sure that this timeline happens now. So, because I mean, speaking of time loops and stuff, I think Fitzsimmons discovered the new plans for a next gen Zephyr, the Zephyr alone, the Zephyr we had in the present day was some top tier, high quality kind of engineering and designing and stuff by Fitz himself. So, that alone was just the biggest kind of physical and structural and conceptual kind of biggest kind of upgrade that Fitz could have possibly given it. So now to know, I think the only other appearance changes we saw were the humans actually kind of changing these efforts to actually fit them in this kind of new broken world. So I think that was all else we saw about that. I think the kind of designs for next gen Zephyr that they actually showed us were Fitz's designs to outfit both the lighthouse and the Zephyr with the actual artificial gravity system, and then the gravitonium and everything. So then that's why they established that's why the Earth still has gravity. It's why it still has an atmosphere, because then the artificial gravity is actually I think that then means that the artificial gravity is actually pushing the gravity out to still try and maintain that classic planetary kind of shape and everything like that kind of classic planetary spherical kind of shapes, and that's why that is, I think. But the gravity storms, I think, I need to go back and check that scene. I'm not sure if they actually mentioned why the gravity storms or everything. Maybe because the gravity is artificial, so then that much gravity, and then because the gravity is also kind of controlling what's not there, and it's actually pushing in something that isn't there. So then maybe the gravity is out of balance, and that creates a storm and everything. So I think maybe I'm gonna have to go back and check the scene again. Easily quite a bit of dialogue. I think kind of flew past my head, but either way, that's what edits are for and everything else. So there's that. But yeah. So then I think looking at the designs, looking at the gravitonium, looking at everything else, I think they realized that then that not only is this proof that they came up with the system, but it's also proof that they do. I think they do pretty much have to go back in time. It's proof that they do have to go back in time, and it's also proof that everything that has happened will happen, because then they need to go back in time and actually outfit everything with this kind of technology, and then they have to actually get ready for the end of the world and get ready for the Earth to become what it does, and to make sure that the lighthouse is stabilized with the artificial gravity, and that the Zephyr is kind of stabilized, and all this kind of stuff happens, and then the Earth is still in place, even if it's not in piece, even if it's not in one piece, it needs to stay in place too. So there's that. No matter how the timeline runs, they have to get transported into the future before anything happens, and then find out about their new future system upgrades, and then find out about the upgrades and find out what they do and what they are, and then they have to actually go back in time and then implement the upgrades, and that way there's so that way their past selves know so then they know to do it, and then I think they know that they build it because then this is why they build it. Now they know they have to build it, because otherwise it's like a whole paradox kind of thing that gets unleashed and everything. So there's that. I think, yes, and it's like proof that they actually have to go back, and proof that all of this stuff happens, and proof that they're the ones who implement it and everything. So it's like a whole kind of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey type of thing. I'm honestly surprised. I mean, again, I fully trust that it's like a serious situation where their minds are blown and they're struggling to comprehend all this. But I think Gemma, being the Doctor Who fan that she is, I'm surprised she didn't throw a bit of like a wibbly wobbly timey-wimey in there just for kind of tension breaking sake or anything. But either way, I guess that's what I'm here for. But no, it was, you know, like a pretty kind of mind blowing kind of revelation for the both of them to find out that all this stuff is true, and they have to actually go back and do everything, and it's a hassle. It's just one giant kind of hassle. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do besides from go back in time and actually secure the future in the most terrifying way possible? So yeah, time travel. You gotta love it, right? You gotta love it. And then yeah, I think we saw a little bit of Daisy kind of being ever so slightly remorseful and kind of feeling like some kind of you know conflict, some inner conflict about being, you know, about all these names and everything, and that kind of hit me. That kind of hit me. That I think that kind of really kind of struck a chord with me. Yeah, I think her kind of conflict and her guilt mainly being that, you know, like all these names that she's given. I think, and especially Coulson kind of like not necessarily prioritizing, but I think Coulson making it clear that, like, I think, you know, like they're going up against forces that are kind of like somewhat beyond their control. So actually having someone that actually matches up to them and levels up to them in some way, or at least like from his perspective, levels up to them in some way, would actually be really cool. So that would be beneficial. So then, because of that, they need Quake, and then with her being like, you know, all these names, Quake, the Destroyer of Worlds. They've like so far this season, even last season with the whole vigilantism thing and the public not trusting her, you know, like names like these have not really brought anything good. And I think, to be fair, I think she never really I think in season 4 she kind of let herself have the name Quake, but I think she never came up with it. I think like literally like the media came up with it, because I think because of what her powers are, because of what she can do, because they're similar to an earthquake, the media and the press dubbed her as Quake and everything. I think even then, I think like back then, I think that name wasn't even really for a good purpose either. I think because I think the first time I can remember them calling her Quake was because of in season 4 what she was doing with the banks and the bridges with the watchdogs and everything. So because I think like the way they saw it is like, oh, it's property damage and vandalism and robbery and attempted kind of whatever and everything. So I think because of that, like the press dubbed her in that way because they saw her as a vigilante. They saw her as someone to be feared and someone who is a threat and everything. So because of that, they gave her the name, and then they just kind of stuck with her. And I think she did kind of keep it to try and do something good with it, like to be like, you know, I am Quake, I am a force for good, I am gonna fight for the people and everything. But then so far it's not really been serving her very well, and I think especially in this season too, and I think last season it was Quake. This season, because of what's happened with the Earth, she's now the Destroyer of Worlds, and even that, just I mean it can have a badass ring to it, depending on what you do, but then when you're literally charged with breaking open your own home planet like an egg, it's not the kind of name you want to stick. So I think, after all this time, I think she's just kind of tired of being labelled and tired of being judged and tired of, you know, having this kind of remorse on her shoulder. Remorse that she has yet to create, by the way. Remorse that she herself hasn't created, but then she's been told that she actually does go back in time and then commit actions that do create such remorse and everything. So then after all that, she's just like, you know what if I just want to be Daisy Johnson, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think, again, Daisy Johnson has proven time and time again she's an S-tier Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's an S-tier Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. She's an S-tier warrior, a hero. Like, Daisy Johnson herself is a hero. Daisy Johnson herself is a hero in my eyes. So, you know, Daisy is my hero. Daisy is my hero. So, you know, I think she's very, very understandably conflicted about actually having all these names and being called all these things, when deep down I think she knows who she is. She knows, like, full well who she is, and she, you know, holds that in great strength and great pride. But then, you know, I think that moment especially just kind of goes to show that, you know, like she's tired of being called these things because of like where they come from, because of the kind of background that these names have and everything. I think maybe last season she thought that she could try and rebrand it as something good and something positive, but then the people just won't let her. I think especially in this season, what's left of the people still won't let her try and be anything good. So yeah, she just wants to be Daisy Johnson again, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. Just like, you know, like she started off as an Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and she'll be damned. She'll be damned if she lets anyone take that away from her. So names were never too much of a strong point for her. Like, even her name Sky. I mean, Sky was never a bad name for her, but Sky was never like a bad name for her. And I think, you know, even looking back, I do very much treasure Sky. It was a really cool name. It was a beautiful name. It was a very, very fitting name, and it was a name that she chose to. But then, of course, a name out of necessity because she didn't know who she was. But then once she finds out who she is, damn, just like a whole new spark, a whole new flower to bloom. Literally, no pun intended, a new flower to literally bloom into the world, a new daisy for the world, a daisy reborn, So, yeah, to actually see her in that position to actually be conflicted, I think, because I think deep down, I think she still wants to try and be the hero. She still wants to do good. She still wants to try and use these powers for good and actually try and get rid of that image. But then it's like a hard call to this. It's a hard thing to do and a hard call to make when there's all this kind of noise around you and everything. So yeah, I just want Daisy to be happy. I just want her to be happy. I want her to be prosperous. I want her to finally, redeem herself in the eyes of humanity and to actually try and be able to do something good and try and show people that she's good and that she's here to help. And I guess Daisy Johnson, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one to do that. I think Quake, Quake might not be the one who needs to do that. The Destroyer of Worlds definitely isn't the one to do that. I think Daisy Johnson, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the one who needs to do that to actually save the world again, to actually save humanity and to show them that she's with them and everything. So I guess in good time we shall see. In good time. So yeah. And yeah, she killed Sinara. Daisy Johnson killed Sinara. She didn't use her powers. I mean, not that she could, even if she wanted to. But then again, she clearly, I think, in that fight scene, she struggled very little. She took hits and she delivered them tenfold. She gave back just as good as she got, especially to a Kree. She, I think, the only thing inhuman about her is her powers, her strength, like her physical strength, her fight skills, her agility, her speed, her everything else. Like the only thing inhuman about her is her Quake powers. So even when those are shut down, her training, as delivered at the hands of Agent Melinda freaking May, make her the badass agent and the badass fighter that she is. So she uses it like she fights Sinara as Daisy Johnson. She kills Sinara as Daisy mother freaking Johnson. So if you needed any, if you needed any kind of, any proof as to why Daisy Johnson is one of my favorite TV show characters and comic book characters of all time, this show right here is proof. This show is proof, and it's also proof that I need to get into the comics and actually see what her comic backstory is like compared to this. But yeah, that's this right here is, indubitable and solidified kind of proof. I don't know if indubitable works, but it's solidified proof. So yeah, but she killed Sinara. And she impaling her on the kind of pipe rod thing. And again, that one too. Even that one, as she showed Deke, was also self-defense. It wasn't her literally throwing a spear and jamming it through her head or something. But it was actually her using self-defense. And Sinara was there to. I think Sinara was initially there to capture her, but then I think given how long the fight had been prolonged, I think she definitely kind of gave in to the kind of inhibition to actually kind of kill her and get over and done with and try and she was giving into her own kind of bloodlust. So Daisy had no other choice. So she killed her in self-defense and Deke saw that. So yeah, there was that. So yeah, Daisy freaking Johnson, everyone. And I think we had the kind of slightest kind of little tidbits with Daisy and May too, like May kind of being so surprised that she could have been a mother and like being a mother to Robin. Even I love that they included that too. I feel like on the one hand it's subtext for those who know to kind of look to actually read into that and to know, but then even like for the fans who've been watching the show for this long, who've been invested in the show for this long, who've been reading these characters for this long and actually been consuming them for so long and actually understanding them in this way. I feel like it, on the one hand, it's subtext for those in general who just know how to read it, but then also it's for the fans being like, we know you see Daisy and Colton May as the ultimate kind of mother, daughter, father kind of duo, the trio and everything. We know you see that dynamic there, so then them actually kind of outlining that kind of sneaking in those little kind of mother-daughter crumbs between Daisy and May as well, like even Daisy kind of outlining how she already has all those kind of sneaky little kind of mom habits, and May just shooting her that little kind of iconic mother death stare and everything. I mean, that's just a Melinda. I mean, I feel like Melinda May death stares are colder. Melinda May death stares are colder. Mama May death stares, that's a Mama May death stare right there. Like the Mama May death stare, as her daughter, as Daisy, you just kind of you feel nervous and anxious about it. You know she's just messing around. She's just kidding. But if you're ever on the receiving end of a Melinda May death stare, you run for the hills and pray that they can protect you. You run for the hills and you pray that they can protect you. So, yeah, but seeing those kind of crumbs being snuck in there, snuck in here and there, was really, really sweet to see. So yeah, and she has plenty plenty of experience being a mom. Whether they acknowledged it in this particular episode or not, she has plenty of experience being a mom to Daisy, and even to Fitz and Simmons. I think they are the bus kids. Daisy and Fitz and Simmons are the bus kids for that reason. And everything, so yeah, but I think Daisy and May definitely have that kind of thing, May kind of rebuilt Daisy with her own fists and feet and mind and her own wisdom and everything. She really is her mom's daughter and everything. So yeah, so I mean, I guess like her inhumanity she gets from her mother, because those genes were passed down. But then her, her Daisy Johnson side, her shield side, her fighter side, she gets from Melinda May, her adoptive mother, if you will. So that was sweet to see. That was really cool to see. Then we had Deke. Deke kind of did decide to stick around with the Shield team. So I'm very curious to know where that might be leading to, and how he might kind of handle integrating with them and becoming a part of them and seeing where that leads. But I think before that he did have like a bit more of a tense moment with Voss and everything, like having a gun in hand and everything, and actually visiting his cage and being ready to do that. And I think that scene seemed to be like a lot more obviously like it was just like his need to at least kind of threaten to do that and actually hold a gun and to actually kind of be on the verge of that. But then deep down, I think even he knew this wasn't him. This wasn't the way to do it. And like Voss, I think he's just like he's just not a good guy. I think in the end he resorted to things. I think he claims that he killed Oben in self-defense, that Oben attacked him with a knife, and then because I feel like even by description, I say by description, but I think even Deke mentioned that his father was quite a violent. I think he said violent, right? I think he said it was a violent. I think he mentioned he was a violent man, but then he still cared about the people, and he still cared about like people around him and then the people in his life and everything. So because of that, I feel like I think especially with Voss mentioning that they agreed with bringing the people here as per the prophecy, but then what to do with them once they got here, that's where they disagreed on. Like Voss was very obviously the entire time on the side of killing them to reshape the future, and then Owen was on the side of them perhaps coming here with a miracle, or at least once they got here they would work towards a miracle and actually change things. So then he was very much on the side of supporting S.H.I.E.L.D. and building them and actually keeping them up and everything. So he was very much on that side of history, whereas with Voss, I think Voss was too full of pain and too full of that kind of judgment and everything to even think straight. So he was resorting fully to murder and thinking that was the only way forward. So there was that whole thing. So then I think because of that, then I think eventually the one day the argument just got too strong, and then I tried to take him out and everything, and yeah. So I think if Voss's story is anything to go by, then that one would be self-defense. But then the Polly thing, I can't forget the Polly thing. The Polly thing, that was very, very like him. Even if it was on the spot, because he didn't think about killing her before. But then even if it was on the spot, he still very much chose to do it. He still worked it out in his head. He still worked out that she was the key. She was the one giving them answers, and then she would eventually give them the answers to go back home. So then he wanted to prevent that, and he knew the only way to do that would be to take out Robin. So that's what he wanted to do, and it was very, very well intentioned. So that one right there was murder. But I think I think like on the one hand you cannot you really can't discount the fact that Voss was very much just like a guy trying to save his own people and trying to save himself and trying to save what was left. But then he also, I think it's kind of shown that he also just kind of gave into his darkest kind of desires and his darkest kind of thoughts and his darkest kind of motives a little bit too easy. I think once he began to consider killing them, I think he just gave into that too easily, and he thought, okay, this must be the way. There's no other way. There's no other way. We kill them, we save the world, and then we get our people back and everything. So he's kind of refused to think of anything else as a possibility. And then to anyone who stood in his way, anyone who stood in his way ended up dying. So kind of go show I think Voss, I think if you want to go with if you want to simplify it, he's complex, but then if you want to actually kind of go deeper into it, he very was just kind of he was just too much of too much of a liability himself. He was too much of a liability himself. He just kind of gave into those motives and those kind of means too easily. So not necessarily ideal S.H.I.E.L.D. material, not necessarily kind of ideal kind of rescuer material. So even Deke knew that like that's not really what he wanted to do, because especially after the way his dad died, or at least the way he must have done it, especially hearing Voss recite how that kill went down, the fact that Owen attacked first, then Voss killed him in self-defense. I think knowing that was self-defense too, I think, killing Voss in like through murder for having killed his dad in self-defense, I think he knows that just doesn't really add up, and it wouldn't feel the same, and he wouldn't want it. So I think he's just in pain. He's very, very classically in pain. He's vengeful. He's upset and angry, and he's mourning as well, like after just finding out what really happened. So yes, I think it's kind of clear enough that he never was really going to go through it, and it's also just not who he is either. Like, he spent years on the lighthouse trying to keep his own people safe, and he never killed anyone. He never hurt anyone. He spent years trying to keep people safe and away from the Kree's control, using the makeshift kind of framework and everything. So that's who he is. Like he's the guy who tries to find a way to help people. He tries to find a way to help his people and to keep people together and to keep them from being killed and everything. So yes, I think in that sense, I very much do look forward to seeing how he actually fits in with the rest of Shield, and seeing how he actually integrates with them, and actually seeing how he melds with them, and what he gets up to, and what kind of inputs and insights he can really offer them and everything. So seeing Deke officially, I mean, hopefully, I think at least in the next episode, if not the one after that, just like seeing how Deke officially joins the Agents of Shield should be a really fun thing to see. Like the start of like a new journey for him too. So I really hope he actually gets to experience some new highs and gets helped through any new lows as well. So yeah, it should be fun. And then back on the lighthouse too, we had some great stuff with Kasius. We had some really major, just boggling stuff with Kasius. She resurrected Tess. Kasius resurrected Tess. I think that was the last thing. For a messenger, that was the last thing I was expecting. I was like, given the kind of guy Kasius is, given how his etiquette and his mannerism and his kind of his way of being is, and his lifestyle is on the lighthouse and in his domain of the lighthouse, I was fully expecting a guy in like flashy robes and a hat, maybe with like a whole, either like a paper scroll or even like an actual hollow scroll, or like an actual kind of like an iPad or something out in space. I was fully expecting that to be the messenger, like for it to be a Kree messenger reading it in the most sophisticated and most elegant, most classy voice possible. But that wasn't the case. No, Kasius hit home. He sent them a messenger that he knew they would listen to, one that they would never interrupt, and one that he knew that they would actually strike them where he needed to strike. So he brought Tess back, and I think I very nearly forgotten, like until they mentioned it had actually happened before, like Kree blood bringing people back from the dead, because that was the whole thing with Coulson and everything, and even Daisy back in season 1 when she got shot. So yes, I mean, them knowing that their blood can do that, I think they brought Tess back. Like, when I saw her, I thought she must have been like a walker or a zombie or something. I thought she must have been undead, or she must have been half dead, or like she must have been like floating between the realms of like the living and all that kind of stuff. But no, she actually, I mean, she I think she looked pale, because I think that's just how her body was after all that time. She still had been dead for a few episodes, so then by that logic, like a few weeks at least. So she'd been dead for a few weeks, but then her body wasn't really kind of decayed like to that degree. But then she was still kind of pale and sickly, and looked kind of. And she looked like she'd been dead for like a few days at least. So there was that, but still looked amazing. Still looked amazing even for dead. So that was great. That was that, but. He sent her as a messenger, and she came back with a message, and then said that he wants I mean, his end game was Daisy. His end game was definitely Daisy, but then he wanted like the Inhuman stuff that he'd that he'd managed to produce on the lighthouse back. He wanted Flint, he wanted Lena, like all the kids and everything. He's gonna take them. He's gonna breed more Inhumans, and I think after that, I think he was probably gonna. I think maybe with like a new army of Inhumans, he would probably launch some kind of attack on the lighthouse and overpower the humans. But then his end game, obviously, was always gonna be getting his hands on Daisy, on the Destroyer of Worlds, because he doesn't even call it Daisy. I mean, with like. Knowing him for good reason, like in his case for good reason, he doesn't even call her Daisy. He just calls her the Destroyer of Worlds. So then because of that, it's kind of somewhat more difficult to identify exactly who he's talking about, unless you've heard Daisy referred to as that before. So there was that. But his end game was always going to be Daisy, but then he came in with consequences too. Like if they didn't follow his orders, then he'd like incinerate them all. He had I think he had bombs strapped to the actual oxygen tanks in the actual ventilation system. So then if those go off, then it would incinerate them all, and the entire floors would all be taken out. And that was a very, very worrying thing. And I trust at the end. I think because of the fact that they were inside the vent shafts in that scene where Mac opened them up. I think because of the fact that I think those bombs, I think some of them did actually manage to place them down onto crates and everything. But then in that final scene, I think a lot of those bombs were still sealed away in other rooms, but then still strapped onto actual tanks. I think I'm trusting that they actually did manage to. I don't know if they actually still took those oxygen tanks that the bombs were on and moved them elsewhere, because then I think that's still oxygen in the vents. So then I think if those are gone, then I think I'm trusting that they moved into other floors where there's still oxygen available that's unbombed, and maybe there's that's still kind of there left for them to breathe and everything, and that by doing that they're not in any kind of dire danger of suffocation or anything like that. So I'm hoping they still have oxygen on the other floors that have been untampered with, but I think it's mainly the lower human floors they actually rigged to blow should anything go wrong. So I think he sat there the whole time. He sat there the whole time just waiting for an actual ultimatum like this where he could actually put it to good use. So he really prepared for the worst. Prepared for the worst. But yeah, Tess is back, so hopefully this time we can actually keep her as well. Hopefully this time we can actually keep her around and have her. Maybe depending, I honestly don't. I mean, I'm not entirely sure if I can actually see Flint staying with the team. Assuming they do, say after they take out Kasius and his men, and after they kind of take out the Kree threat surrounding Earth now. After that, I think, and then presuming they actually do piece the Earth back together using Flint. My kind of, I think then my kind of guess would be that maybe then Flint and Tess, being them, they would stay behind with the rest of the humans and actually allocate them and actually help them kind of stay behind on this kind of newly rebuilt Earth, and then the team goes back to do whatever needs to be done and actually kind of reinstate this new kind of timeline and actually kind of flesh things out, either the way it needs to be fleshed out, or they actually kind of change some things so that way the Earth doesn't get destroyed and all that stuff doesn't happen. So. Yeah. They mentioned. I actually mentioned it in the last video. I actually mentioned one of my theories was that Daisy destroys the Earth because Daisy destroys the Earth either because she has to and there's no other way, or because there's some other kind of threat at play. Some other kind of threat at play that forces her to actually do something else that results in the Earth being cracked open. So. I think it might have been Kasius. He did mention that was it Kasius or was it some? I think it might have been Voss. I think it might have been Voss. I think it was Voss, because I think it was after Coulson asked him what made him so sure that they were the ones who caused it. I think he mentioned aliens. And he mentioned that there were actually lights in the sky and aliens came down, and then. I think Daisy said, or someone else said that. I think he said that the Robin. I think he mentioned that was one of her final. I think one of her prophecies. One of Robin's prophecies was that the aliens would come down, and then they threatened the Earth, and then Daisy's kind of ultimatum would be doing something which would result in the Earth being cracked open. So. That's proof that she does need to defeat someone else or something else, but then doing so either means destroying the Earth in order to destroy them, or destroying them in a way that also destroys the Earth. So I think that is then that prophecy exists and that is confirmed. So she does in fact actually destroy the Earth either as intentional or as an actual backlash of trying to do something else. So that's the thing. But then I think that kind of made me wonder who the alien might be. I think because we know in the flashbacks the Kree did show up, but then that was when the humans were already in the lighthouse, and then that kind of makes me wonder, was that then before or after the Earth got destroyed? Because then if she does need to destroy the Earth, I think that means that she would actually order the team to try and get humanity underground and try and save whoever they can. So that means that they'll actually try and get as many humans to the lighthouse as possible. So then that means that'll be in place, and then that means that then Then the aliens come, then she realizes what she has to do, so then she does that, and then the humans come down. So then that must be the Kree, right? That's got to be the Kree, or I think could it be someone else or something else? I think it would be a great time to introduce someone new. I think we've had Inhumans for seasons now, so I think we have had Inhumans for season. We have had Inhumans for seasons now, but then we've also had Kree for season. We've also had the Kree for a few seasons. So I think now would be a really nice time and like a really great time to actually try and introduce someone new, someone even greater, like an even greater, even more dangerous kind of threat, like someone even more dangerous than the Kree, and then the Kree kind of come in like after the Earth is destroyed. There's almost like a power vacuum, so that's why the Kree come in, and they come in under the guise of wanting to help and wanting to provide, but then afterwards like that power vacuum is taken up by Kasius, and he enslaves and does everything else. So yeah, I think it could be other. I don't know if we've really been introduced to anyone else. I mean, there's the Chronicoms, but then I think the Enoch is a Chronicom, and I mean, for all we know, he could be one of the good ones. I think I really want to avoid calling him that, but I think he could also very easily be one of the good ones, because then there were good Kree. I think there were definitely good Kree. I think even back in season 2, like that one guy who came to try and the one guy who came back in season 2 who actually explained what Genesis was. I think he said like the better of his kind were the ones who stopped the experiments. I think they're definitely good Kree out there. There's definitely good Skrulls too. We saw good Skrulls in Captain Marvel, so I think he could be one of the good ones. I think Enoch definitely kind of. I mean, he obviously is one of the good ones, but then there could be other ones. But then there also could be bad Chronicoms, and maybe then we meet the bad Chronicoms, and we have to actually find out who they are and find out what they want and everything. So that could be a whole kind of moral and kind of other kind of cosmic kind of dilemma. So that would be interesting. Maybe actually maybe season 5 introducing us to the Chronicoms. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe possibly. But I guess we'll see. But I mean, again, that is pretty much like a now confirmed kind of prophecy. So only time will tell. But yeah, that's also another kind of thing. So yeah. And Kasius knows Elena. Like he called her Yo-Yo Rodriguez. He called her Elena. Like he was like he went from that to like a first name basis with her. And Elena didn't seem surprised at all. He like she didn't question it. I was the only one questioning it. No one else in the scene seemed to question this. I think that really makes me wonder, like, did I miss something? Is there like was there some kind of introduction earlier on in the season? like was there some kind of like other kind of off camera kind of thing going on? Because I definitely must have missed something. If like for one thing he's calling her these names, but then she's also not really fazed by it. Like it's almost like she actually expects him to know who she is. I mean, it's been a while. Admittedly, it's been a while since I've started season 5, and a couple of episodes here and there have had staggered gaps between them. But still, I am like 65% sure. I think a strong 60% sure that they haven't met yet. That they haven't met. I think pretty sure the only people that Kasius has met are Fitz and Daisy and Simmons. That's the only people, and also Deke, because he was the one who sold Daisy to him. So I'm pretty sure like they are the only ones that he's met. He hasn't met Elena. He hasn't met Mac. He hasn't met May or Coulson. He hasn't met any of them. So I think how the fuck he knows her, I don't know. If you guys have any ideas, I mean, if it's, I mean, I really don't even know if it would be spoilers at this point, because again, like she acted so unsurprised that he knew who she was. I think, I don't know if it could be because she's in Humans, so then maybe she knows that way. I think because he knows Daisy because she's the destroyer of worlds, but then maybe he knows Elena because she's in Human or something. So I don't know. I mean, I'm either gonna have to go back and look and see what I've missed out on, or maybe if you guys have any kind of if it is a spoiler, then obviously don't post in the comments. I am more than happy to find out for myself exactly if they address it in the future again. I'm more than happy to find out for myself. But then if it isn't spoiler, if it's already something that's happened, I'm kind of missing out on or forgetting or something, then by all means let me know. Would really help me out and everything. So that was just kind of weird to kind of experience in the moment, like, oh, he knows Elena, and he knows that she's Yo-Yo and all that kind of stuff, and he knows her powers too. He knows exactly, he knows what her powers are too, because he had the force field in front of him waiting to catch her out in kind of mid-speed and everything, so he knows who she is, he knows what her powers are, he knows all that kind of jazz. So he came prepared. He came with intel, and intel really panned out. So yeah. And yeah, so I think the one bomb that I think one of them, maybe a few kind of equivalent bombs that Mac and Yo-Yo took were actually strapped to a crate full of the Inhuman samples that they took from the lab and everything to actually I think not even as insurance. I think that one they genuinely meant to actually blow up in front of his face and everything. So I think that they took that to actually as one final kind of fuck you, perhaps. And I mean, in the hopes of death, but then even in the end, even knowing that he actually had like a force field, like just like a final fuck you to Kasius. So now his Inhuman samples are gone. So now no more Inhumans for Kasius. He can't breed anymore. He doesn't have any kind of samples to build from. He doesn't have any to start off with. So there's all that kind of stuff. So yeah, so they did that. They did that, and they survived with Flint, and they survived with Tess. Even they actually ran off with Tess and Flint and everything. So they survived. They also, and even the humans, the humans. I think, of course, Kasius being the monologuer that he is, him being the kind of talkative kind of leader that he is, he loves to talk. So then they use that to their full advantage and actually use that time, and even them actually throwing back one-liners and quips and questions at him and everything. So they use that time to actually allow the humans to reallocate the bombs and isolate them and actually, move up the floors and actually have them kind of evacuating themselves to safety and everything. So they use that to their full advantage, and then the humans that Kasius swore would stand against each other and actually not be able to work together. They worked together and they survived and they saved their families and their kids and they saved each other, and unity in the face of extraterrestrial death and all that kind of stuff. So they managed it. So that was really cool. And now the Inhuman stuff is gone. So yeah, that was a great ending for that. That was a really great ending for that, and even I actually really kind of loved that cut to the Shield logo too. So that was really fun. That was really cool. Yeah. But yeah, now Kasius is a seer. Apparently, Kasius has a seer. I think he mentioned that they had a seer that allowed them to kind of to see and predict the future. And now apparently he has a seer too. Something that I thought maybe it cut to just the door. I think the camera then zoomed and panned, and then it cut to the door. But it cut once it reached the door. But then I thought maybe we'd actually kind of fly through the peephole and see who it was, and maybe get like a tease of who the seer was. Because then I thought, oh, is it going to be someone we know? Is it going to be someone we're really not expecting or something? But then no, just no tease. Yes, I think now Kasius. I think so. I mean, has he had one all this time, or did he just did he just manage to acquire one? Because I think that one seems a bit more kind of unlikely. Because I feel like if he had a seer, if he really did only just get his hands on one, then that would mean it was actually someone who was actually living among the humans this entire time. And if that was the case, I feel like maybe he would have actually. Maybe he would have or should have managed to to actually weed them out and find them from the beginning, because it seems like a seer, regardless of his position, regardless of his power levels at the beginning, a seer would have been useful to him anyway, and a seer might have even allowed him to capture the Shield people from the get-go, or at least earlier on and everything. But either way, I think now the plot calls for him to have a seer, so he has a seer, and the seer allowed him to to see and predict that the Shield team would come around with the Zephyr, with the new and improved Zephyr, and actually come around and have them land on the helipad and all that kind of stuff. So now he's expecting them, and he's going to take a whole kind of squadron of Kree foot soldiers and whatnot to try and attack them. So he has a seer. So I mean, he has a seer, and they've given him these visions so far. So I feel like deep down, we have got to get something with the seer. We've got to see who the seer is, and actually find out who they are. Because then, for one thing, there's no way that he has a seer, and we don't get to meet them. But then also for another thing, there's no way that the seer get the one prophecy that the kind of seer gives him so far is the fact that he's gonna now go and face the Shield team, and then we still don't get to meet them. So hopefully next episode we actually get something kind of good and cool and everything. So, and I think having Mac and Elena and Flint kind of being on different kind of opposing views when it comes to killing and when it comes to fights. I think with Flint, I think he's not a killer. He's not a killer, but I think he's not a killer, but he's a fighter, which means that he can very easily kill in self-defense and he can kill in order to protect someone else. So he would never. I think he would never really kill someone in cold blood, and he would never kill someone who was unarmed or kill anyone who didn't deserve it, or it's like he didn't really think deserved it. But I think with him, he's a fighter. But I think what Max sees there is a fighting spirit that has the potential to actually kind of like if kind of left unchecked, it has the potential to actually turn into something more brutal and more lethal, because he already killed Grill with his power. So then if he's allowed to lean into that kind of fighting spirit, if he's allowed to lean into that fighting spirit too much, or in like a way that like could go even worse if left unchecked, then that's something he really doesn't want Flint to have to live with, and something he couldn't live with either if he knows that he could prevent that from happening. So there's that, and then that's Flint. Elena is fully up for killing Kasius. She's ready to all out kind of, you know, use her speed and her powers to shred Kasius to bits or kill him in any way possible. So she was very much on the kind of side of actually killing him and actually ending this once and for all. But then also like the way she talked kind of felt very, very violent and very aggressive and very, very kind of murderous and everything. Whereas with Mac, I feel like, you know, I think he very much is on the side of like killing in self-defense again, and killing when you have no other choice. So like you should never actually resort to killing firsthand. You should always try and disarm them and disable them and actually try and take them out in like a non-lethal way and everything. But I think their stances and their kind of words on killing and what it means and if it's the best approach to the situation kind of definitely kind of got highlighted in this episode, and them talking about whether or not to actually kind of approach them in that way, and whether or not to actually, you know, kind of use that as their kind of first kind of go-to kind of option too was like a really good thing to see explored. So that was fun. But then also even Yo-Yo teaching Flint how to fire like an unarmed gun, and then Mac immediately seeing that and thinking like the worst thing, like thinking, oh, he's gonna go out there and instead of actually using it to shoot back at something that's already shooting at him, he's gonna go instead out there and he's actually gonna have some blues in his crosshairs and he's gonna take them out off the board without them knowing, and it's gonna be like a really dangerous and really kind of really darkly kind of coded thing and everything. So seeing that kind of stuff was interesting. It was interesting. So yeah. That is pretty much all I've got for now. It was a very, very interesting episode. Like I said, maybe like a bit of like a calmer kind of first and second act, but then the third act definitely went full force with everything, and they went full blast, and they definitely set it up in like a really kind of cool and meaningful way. So that was really fun to watch. But a good episode nonetheless. As per usual, a great episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. nonetheless, and I definitely can't wait to catch the next one when I get around to that. So that will be fun. But yeah, that is pretty much all I've picked up from this one. So that was Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., of course, Season 5, Episode number 9. So thank you guys, as always, so much for being here and for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then feel free to leave a like, and also, as always, comment any of your thoughts, comment any of your theories, what you thought of this episode, what you think is going to be coming up next, and what you're looking forward to, and any kind of thoughts you have on the stuff explored and the kind of stuff that went down in this episode and how you felt about it. Full-length reaction for those interested will be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. And yeah, that is pretty much it. So until next time, bye bye for now.